Hey there friends and enemies, JoPa here again, and today I've got another Remnant 2 video for you guys as the Forgotten Kingdom DLC is now behind us, so it's time to look forward to the future of the game, namely what archetype we could see up next, where I think the third DLC that we know is coming could take place, what location, and finally, what new corrupted weapons we could see in the future as well. And that's where I'm going to start. In between every update, every new DLC, we have seen 5 corrupted versions of special weapons, and I hope that continues to be the case. If that does happen, here are some of the options that I most want to see as corrupted versions. First off, and this is the main special handgun that I want to see corrupted, is the Hellfire, because I don't think this weapon has really had a chance to shine, so I'm hopeful that a corrupted version could be implemented and make it really strong to make up for the fact that Hellfire has largely been okay, sometimes underwhelming, but just never quite the dominant handgun in the game. And I would hope that the corrupted version would fix that. It could do some insane stuff with some burn builds, and I really would look forward to that being the case. It's probably the one that I would want as a corrupted version the most, but there are some other good options as well, like the Alpha Omega. This is another weapon that at times has been pretty solid, but I don't know if it's ever had the shine that I would like it to have. So that's another really good option that I believe would be a great one. Maybe one of the bows like Crescent Moon or Sagittarius could also get a corrupted version, but those are the main weapons that I personally would like to see. There are a few more that could be really insane, like a plasma cutter. Imagine that. That's already a really good weapon. A corrupted version would be pretty wild. But I think something like a Spore Bloom, which already kind of has corrupted ideas as far as how it looks, could be another interesting option. But that brings me to the third DLC and where I would personally want to see it take place, as there's speculation that it will happen on Nerude, considering in the first 2 DLC we have gotten additions to current locations instead of a brand new one. But I'm hopeful that they saved the best for last and we will get either a brand new location or, more likely, in my personal opinion, a location from the first game we've yet to go back to, such as Rom, Corsus, or potentially Rysum. Now, for me, I think Rysum would be the best. I love the way it looks. It's one of my favorites. It's from the Subject 2923 DLC, and I think it could be really cool. But I do wonder if that's something that they would actually implement. I think that would be my favorite because you could actually flesh it out a bit more compared to the other locations. Like, I feel like Rom as a desert wasteland would kind of fit some of the vibes we already have in the game. Corsus could be interesting, but again, as a swamp location, it might not be my favorite. I do feel like to separate what we have in the game currently from anything new, Rysum would be the one location that I would most look forward to. Now, whether that makes sense in the form of storytelling or not remains to be seen, but for me personally, I think they have enough other locations to pull for. I know it's going to take a bit more work, and that's why I'm hopeful that they've already been working on this, because I do feel like a whole new location would add so much to the game, as this last DLC was very fun for me, but wasn't as exciting as I would have hoped, just because I feel like there's a lot of the locations that I feel like I've already been to. It didn't feel unique or fresh enough to really get me excited over the long term in comparison to the Remnant 1 DLCs, which at times felt really cool. Now, the other option, instead of one of these locations, would be to add a Nerude location, but also a survival mode. I really hope that this third DLC is going to be the best of the bunch and keep people playing for a long term, because it does feel like the shelf life of how long people are playing post DLC is getting just that little bit shorter, and I hope that trend reverses as we get future content. This is the type of game that's not meant to be played forever, but it also is one that I would love to play for a bit longer than I currently am. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but that's just my own personal opinion. Now, finally, we are going to come to the new archetype that I would like to see. And this one's a bit tricky, as I feel like we have a lot of our bases already covered. We have tanks, we have healers, we have melee character, we have range characters. There's a lot going on. And to really narrow this down, I was looking at the Dungeons and Dragons characters, the roles that we don't necessarily have right now, and I do feel like maybe a potential paladin type role of a healer tank combo could be nice, like combining challenger medic to make some kind of hybrid there. I do feel like that role is covered when you're running multiple archetypes, but I do think that could be interesting. We have a lot of magic-esque. We have like the summoner, we have ritualist, we have now the invoker, and I feel like all of those have really focused on either elemental damage or stuff like, or magic type characters. But I do hope that the next one we get is a little bit maybe more gun focused. Maybe it's going to be, instead of the gunslinger or even the hunter, it's going to have a different way to approach guns, or maybe certain guns in particular. Maybe it is a sidearm specialist, for example, where it insanely buffs your sidearms instead of your long guns, and it really focuses on that. That could be interesting, but I just don't know how they're going to handle it, because there does seem to be a lot of overlap in what we currently have compared to what we will look forward to. Maybe a movement character a la the invoker, but just with a different type of movement abilities. This one I'll leave up to the community, because I would love to hear from you guys. What archetype would you like to see next? Is there anything that you think would absolutely bang in something like this? Because for me personally, I look at other games. I do feel like having a archetype that has a one burst ability that just does a bunch of damage with a very long cooldown could be interesting. Say it's got, instead of some of these abilities that last for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever the case may be, instead it's got an ability that you use once, does a bunch of damage, and then you swap it out, and then you have to wait for the cooldown. And maybe if you buff it right, you can not one-shot some bosses, but get pretty dang close. I don't know. That might be absolutely broken, but just a lot of speculation. I know for me, there's a lot of potential with the upcoming updates, and I'm really looking forward to them. But I love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about the future content of Remnant 2 in the comments down below. My name is Jopa. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Remnant 2 content going forward. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.